wizards, witches, and everyone in between. My name is Emma, and today I will be doing my December wrap-up. So I read a lot more in December than I thought I would. I managed to read 11 things, so let's jump right on in. So the first book that I read was My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing, and I believe I gave this 3 stars. It was just an okay thriller for me. I was expecting a lot more. It's about this couple that decides that they want to spice up their marriage, and so they decide to kill people. And that premise to me sounded really intriguing, but the actual execution of it fell a little short for me. The next thing I read was the Tea Dragon Festival, which is kind of book 2 that accompanies the Tea Dragon Society, and I gave this a 3, I think, as well. It fell short for me. I am really partial to an origin story, so I think it just couldn't live up to my expectations of the Tea Dragon Society. And I think there was just a lot more like cute stuff in the first book than the second. The second had a lot larger scale and like scope of like the plot and the world and everything. And I don't typically like prefer that, honestly. Like I like a simple, you know, origin story kind of thing over like a big sweeping plot. So, I mean, it was still really cute, but I didn't love it as much as the first one for sure. Next, I read Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. I listened to this on audiobook, and it was good, but it wasn't great for me. I enjoyed parts of it. I really liked the 2 main characters and their plot lines, but there was a lot more character plot lines than just the main 2, and I didn't really care about any of them. And I get that it's like satire and that it's a comedy, but it just, I don't know, it didn't really work for me. But I've heard that the other ones are better, and I didn't like dislike this, so I probably will eventually pick up the next book, but I definitely still really want to watch the movie. This book is basically about this girl who goes to visit her boyfriend's or her fiance's family, and he doesn't tell her that they're crazy rich. And so there's a lot of like funny moments in there with her, you know, they're just very like over the top kind of characters. And, you know, they can't possibly relate to any issues that anyone who isn't a billionaire might face. So there was some comedy in that I enjoyed, but overall, it just felt like there were too many side characters that I didn't really care about. Next, I read Paper Girls Volume 6, which I didn't realize until finishing it that it's the last one in that series. So I'm kind of sad. I've had a lot of fun reading that series this year, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it ended really well, and I definitely think I enjoyed it like the most out of the last couple ones that I've read. Next, I read Dumpling by Julie Murphy, and I gave this 4 stars. I really loved it, and as I'm sure you guys know, it's kind of hard for me to get into young adult contemporaries especially, so I was really happy that I loved this. I listened to the audiobook for this and I flew through it. I think I listened to it in like 2 or 3 days. It was so good. It's about this girl named Willow Dean, and her mom runs this beauty pageant, and Willow Dean decides to enter despite not being like a size 0, and she enters it with some friends, and they kind of, you know, go against the stereotypical, you know, look of someone who enters beauty pageants. And it just, this book had a really good message, and I absolutely loved the main character, and I'm really excited to pick up the second one. Next, I finally finished Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I have slowly been rereading the series because I wanted to read the illustrated editions. It is just so much fun to have the pictures here. I feel like it kind of helps me get into that mindset of when I was a kid reading these for the first time and we didn't have the movies. Because without these pictures, it's so hard to read this book and not picture like Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson and Alan Rickman and things like that. And so I think this kind of helps reinforce the idea that, you know, these characters can look different than the actors, because I think actors' faces just get stuck in our heads, you know, and we associate. I really like that aspect of it, not to mention the fact that the illustrations are just absolutely gorgeous. Of course, I gave this 5 stars. Not a surprise. Next, I listened to the audiobook of The Greatest Love Story Ever Told by Nick Offerman and Megan Mullally. I love them. I think in November, my husband listened to the audiobook for Nick Offerman's book, Paddle Your Own Canoe, and he absolutely loved it, and so we wanted to listen to something else by him, and they read it, of course, and I really enjoyed it. If you're a fan of either one of them or both of them, I would definitely give it a listen. It was really, really funny. Next, I read The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand, and this was our Page Dwellers book club pick for December. I'm not sure if the live show has happened yet by the time I put this up, but if it has, I will link it in the description box. So this book, I really, really enjoyed it. I would definitely give it like 4.5 stars. So in this book, there is this thing called Project Scrooge, and every year this team of people identifies someone in the world who is like a Scrooge, who is, you know, not being a good person and things like that. And so they figure out who in their life is like the Fezziwig, and I'm blanking on literally everyone else from A Christmas Carol, but and they do this like Project Scrooge where they basically take them along the plot of A Christmas Carol. So there's hired people playing the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future, and in the hopes that on Christmas Day this person will change their mindset and become a better person. And it's usually successful, except with Holly. So Holly had that happen to her. She was identified as a Scrooge, and she didn't change, and she died. So now she is working with Project Scrooge, and the person that they identified the year she's working with them as Scrooge, that's where I'm going to stop there. But it's an interesting person that she has to kind of figure out and help. That's what it's about. I absolutely loved it. The perfect Christmas read. Highly recommend. I thought the pacing was really good, and I just love all the nods to A Christmas Carol. It was so festive, and it was so fun, you guys. I really love this. I also read The Trilling Adventures of Sabrina, volumes 1 and 2. I realized that Amazon Prime Kindle thing is a thing, and they had those on the Kindle app for free, and I'm super excited. I want to get into a lot more of those kind of things. I read the first 2 of that. I really, really like them. I love how dark and creepy they are, and the illustrations are gorgeous, so that's really fun. I'm really excited that I found those. So the last book that I read in 2019 is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This is a reread, but I wanted to reread the first 2 before I pick up Queen of Nothing. This took me like the whole month to reread, which I did not expect, but that's okay. Still a 5 out of 5 read for me. I absolutely love this book so much. And I've described this book a lot on my channel already, so I'm not going to tell you the plot of it, but we're a fan here. Alright, those are the books that I read in December. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you had a great reading month, and I will see you next time. Bye!